The Giants. I want to touch on this one. It wasn't an upset, but Brad, it should have been an upset.
It
so many things went wrong.
Yeah, it should have been. And, I'll say this. Look, I'll start with the good. Good news, bad news, right? The good news is Daniel Jones wasn't really all that missed. And Tyrod Taylor was doing Taylor things in his 13th season. Obviously, there was a little bit of rust there. And we're going to get into it, especially when it comes to clock management at halftime. But, man, did that guy look good. It's just been a shame that, he's had a streak of bad luck in certain areas, especially like when it comes to injuries, when he was with the Chargers and, Justin Herbert obviously took over and the rest is history there. But like, it was good to see Tyrod Taylor out there and he was running around, making throws, just as if he had never left. And it was a good feel-good story for him too, because he's back in that Bills stadium. I would imagine the Bills fans gave him a warm welcome, but man, this is the tough part because the Giants could have taken this game away from the Bills. And I was going to say this before, but going back to the Jets conversation, we were talking about them winning the next 3 games. They could win the next 4 if the Bills don't figure their shit out, because they almost lost this game and they should have, had there been proper clock management. Here's one example of that. When we take a look at what happened at halftime, they ran into a similar situation towards the end of the game. But let's take a look at halftime right here on what happens. It's 6-0. They're on the 1-yard line.
Oh, no.
They run the ball. Saquon runs the ball. There's 13 seconds left before they snap that ball. Saquon runs the ball. There's no sense of urgency to stop the clock here. And then all of a sudden, they realize how much time's left, and it's too late. They go into the locker room. The Bills get the ball to start the half, and that was a potential either 3 points or a touchdown that should have been scored. And if that would have happened, if they would have figured that out, the Giants would have come away with a dub on just that play alone. But you get to the end of the game, they were in a similar situation, and I'll make the argument that they called pass interference towards the end of that game. They should have called it again. Saw a lot of people talking about, they didn't want to call it twice in a row. Bullshit. You got to call it if that happens. I felt bad for the Giants, but they also did shoot themselves in the foot quite a few times here.
Yeah. I was ecstatic for Tyrod. Just personally, I think that was my favorite part of watching the game, was just like you said, Brad, he looked like Tyrod again. He looked like the guy that he's not going to blow you away. He's not going to make an insane play that no one else can make, but he put the Giants in a position to win the football game, and that's all they asked for. So from that aspect, no, they're not going to start Tyrod over Daniel Jones, but I mean, so I would say solely contractually. I mean, you can't have that on the bench. But man, it looked like a different team. I know Saquon was out there, and even a 70% Saquon adds so much more to your offense. But it really did look like a completely different team with Tyrod out there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, talking about Saquon Barkley, I mean, the guy that's the ankle's still bothering him. But take the rock 28 times, by the way, grinded. And he did have some huge runs in that second half to kind of really try to punch back at the Bills. And look, what stinks for so many reasons, that Giants defense played tremendously. You held Josh Allen 169 yards. And actually, Stephon Diggs caught 10 balls for 100 yards, I believe. Yeah, 10 for 100. So that means 69 other yards. Yeah, I know. Wait for you to say something, Brad. But 69 other yards went to the other receivers or tight ends, running backs, whatever it is. Right? Yeah, there you go. So they did an awesome job, and there was a mismanagement. Now, Allen did bring up there was some finger pointing. There was a lot of tension, and you could see it at halftime. And there's a lot of analysts that were out there talking about, well, it shouldn't have happened. And Dan Orlovsky, which he does always, made a good point, and it makes sense if you're watching it. They had a second play. It looked like it was their check play. So Tyrod Taylor checked the play, but in that circumstance, you got to understand that if he doesn't score there, you got no other shot. Because worst case, if you throw it, you probably have 2, maybe 3 chances at the end zone right then and there. And how about this? The first half ends with the Giants at the 1-yard line, and the second half and the end of the game ends with the Giants at the 1-yard line. 0 points. 0 points. And I'm with you. If you call the one Darren Waller pass interference, you got to call the other.
Mhm.
But to the point that should not have been the reason. It shouldn't even come to that point. The Giants should have walked out with a victory, and now they're sitting at 1-5. That was a chance for them to save their season, in my opinion. And now I don't know if they're going to have enough to get it through. But hey, if you're new to this channel, by the way, if you could subscribe to the channel. We're having a good time because we never really do that. I mean, you see this stash, everyone, by the way. It's not
Look
mine.
at this.
I can't pull that off.
I can't pull that off either. Not a
But
chance.
you know what? I actually,
People will argue I can't either. So
well, no, that looks good. I'm trying to keep this, and woof. And then the other part of it is, I had what did you say?
I said good luck.
Say bald's good, but these caterpillars are what are going to do me in. We're off topic here. Play the pass interference so we can stop talking about my hairline.
Yeah, so just to set it up here, this was the second pass interference that was not caused. There's clear jersey tugging right there.
Yeah.
That is DPI every single time. Anytime you see a jersey getting pulled like that, it's pass interference. I'm sorry. It just is. And I mean, that's my opinion. What do you guys think about that real quick?
Yeah, well, first off, in real time, it always looks like, it was a clean play. And you slow it down and you see the jersey literally being pulled.
There was a referee right there at the end, right at the goalpost.
And I think that's where we go to, right? That's what we're talking about.
I think what I was most upset about is because I think it is DPI. It was a perfect ball by Tyrod. He put it up where only Darren Waller could go up and get it. And the only reason he couldn't go get it is because he was being held. I mean, and that's what I think sucks about it is Tyrod put an incredible ball on Darren Waller that should have resulted
only
in
his guy could
game
catch
winner.
It.
Yeah.
Yep. And you have that line judge sitting right there at the goalpost. So it's like, he saw it. How do you not see that? There's no way.
I think it comes down to, unfortunately, in the NFL, they do not want to have a second untimed down for the win. I think I
do it if it's the right call.
Yeah.
If the suspense builds, give me all the untimed downs in the world.
Zach. I would love it, but I think the NFL and referees are like, as soon as they threw the one pass interference, it is very hard. I think you have to be even more blatant than that, because I think that was almost worse than the first one.
Yeah.
I think referees have a very hard time throwing it back-to-back plays, which shouldn't be an issue.
Why do you think that, Zach?
I just think it's one of those things where once they've thrown it the first time, it's okay, we're giving them a chance on the 1 yard line for the win. This is it. And then in your head, they're like, okay, are we letting them play? Is this getting more physical? Tensions are high. And I think they're more trying to not be part of the story of, there were 2 straight pass interference calls in the end zone, where now they're part of the story they missed the second pass interference in the end zone. So really just a tough position for the ref to be in. I would like him to just throw the flag and let's play football again and have it be clean. But I think the NFL doesn't like their refs throwing those flags multiple at a time in those big moments.
I get that. But my thing is, though, it's like, if they didn't want the referees to be the story today, they failed at that by not throwing, because we're still talking about them, right? If we were talking about them throwing a second DPI in a row and we went back and watched, that jersey tug, and it was pretty obvious. And as you said, the second one was almost worse than the first. For me, it's like, well, if you didn't want them to be the story, now that they are, now they are the story, because of the no call, not because they didn't throw the flag twice on defensive pass interference.
Yeah, and I think it's also another thing where I think the ref would rather be wrong not throwing it. And okay, it was just 2 guys. It was a bang, bang play. I didn't throw it. Then he throws it, and then we go back and go, that was just an incredible defensive play. You ruined the game. So I think there's a lot of that element in it as well. Is they would rather miss the call than give the team another chance that they don't deserve.
I think I'll just say this. I don't envy being a referee
No.
because you are never going to be like, hey, great job. Amazing work. I mean, sometimes they'll say that like, hey, great call by the official, but you might hear that once a game.
Yeah, usually just when they like see that a guy didn't step out and you're like, wow, how did they see that? It's never in a big
it's great job by the officials there. Unbelievable work. And that's the one time you hear it. Everyone's like, oh, I don't know why they would do that. It's a rough position in any sport,